Yo, what's up guys? We got pokeaimMD here. Today we have another Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl moveset video guide on how to use Hariyama. I love this fighting type. Pretty cool Pokemon, has some great abilities as well, and we'll get into it in a second. But if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the content. Not only am I putting out moveset video guides, I have a Showdown Live going out later today where I show off Hariyama in the OU tier, and I also have a Wi-Fi battle going out later as well that shows off Nidoking, Slowking, Venomoth, so just a few Pokemon, so this will be a lot of fun, and I'm uploading content every day. My end of next year goal is 300,000 subscribers, so if you do enjoy, feel free to sub. I'm pretty consistent when it comes to uploading, and if you guys like it, feel free to leave a like too. So I like Hariyama a lot. 3 cool abilities. Guts is awesome because when you're status, like from a Flame Orb, Toxic Orb, etc., Paralyzed, you get that attack raise 1.5 times, so it gives you the damage output of basically having a choice band without having to have a choice band, right? And also Guts plus Burn is pretty cool too, because Burn would normally weaken your attack, but now it actually makes your attack stronger. Guts just ignores that straight up. Then you have Thick Fat, which is cool for being a defensive Pokemon, for being able to check Pokemon like Typhlosion or fire types in general, or ice types. Again, we're going to show the movesets in the video in a second. I'll just show you the first one. But that helps you check that. That kind of differentiates it from all the other fighters, because a lot of fighting types are not defensive, whereas Hariyama has the ability to go both offensive and defensive, right? Like Flame Orb sets, you might be looking at Heracross, Machamp to look at Flame Orb sets, and for more offensive fighters, you might even be looking at Choice Band Metachamp. But Hariyama definitely has some cool little things about it that I think make it stand out. And also, if you guys didn't know, I do have merch available to kind of celebrate the launch of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. If you guys would like to check that out, it's on your screen right now. That link is down below. That's going to be available until the end of December. So the first set we have right here, guys, is the Flame Orb set for Hariyama. Like I mentioned before, Guts plus Flame Orb is great because you get the damage output of a choice band without, you know, being locked into a move. Now, when I use fighters with Guts, I really just like to go max attack and max speed. My main reasoning behind that is that you want to be able to get off your attacks with these fighters. So the more speed you have, the more chance you have of getting off your attacks. Does that make sense? Basically, by being 199 speed at Adamant Nature, that allows me to potentially speed tie with opposing Choice Band Max Speed Azu. That allows me to be faster than defensive Scizor. I'm faster than most variations of Clefable. So it just gives Hariyama the ability to fire off attacks. And in lower tiers, it's faster than maybe defensive Pokemon, obviously like Registeel and things like that. So max attack, max speed for defense. Close Combat is your strongest move. Guts boosted. This Pokemon hits like a truck. Facade is next. Facade is goes from 70 base power to 140 when you are status. So with the Flame Orb, it's a really nice attack that allows you to 2-hit KO most fairy types. It basically just gives you a good move that is almost no drawback, since again the resistances are either rock types, which are not going to come in on you because you're a close combater, or ghost types, which you have another move for, which we'll talk about in a bit. But basically, it gives you a really strong move that doesn't have to worry about fairy types coming in. You're 2-hit KOing Clefable with Flame Orb, Guts, Facade, which is really nice as well. The next move we have is Knockoff. Knockoff gives you the ability to hit ghost types. So the other 2 moves are obviously, they're immune to it. But Knockoff gives you the ability to do that. It also just lets you get rid of items in general. It's strong as well. You know, you'll be KOing, obviously, Latios upon switching. And then you can use Fake Out as well if you don't want to use Knockoff. I personally like Knockoff, especially because it goes from 65 base power to 97.5 when you knock out or knock off an item. When you're knocking off an item, excuse me, not when the item's already off, but when the opponent has an item and you're getting rid of it. I think I said that last time, but somebody didn't catch it. So I was like, I understood how it could be misunderstood. But Fake Out is cool if you want to go some type of dual priority thing with Fake Out plus Bullet Punch, because you do some really nice damage. It also guarantees that you get your Flame Orb activated. But I like Knockoff more. Last move is kind of up to you. Bullet Punch versus Heavy Slam. Bullet Punch gives you that priority. It's cool for checking a Weavile, checking a weakened Latios, like a 30% type of thing. And Alakazam that's taking a little bit of damage. So it's just good for being that priority move that can also do decent damage to fairies, like a Scarf Togekiss at like 50%, for instance, you can knock out type of thing. So just like that. But Heavy Slam, though, if you go Heavy Slam, it's all kind of heavy, right? Versus Clefable, for instance, you are destroying defensive Clefable. I think you do like 90-something% minimum to max defense, max HP Clefable. So if they're unaware of Clefable as well and they take Stealth Rock, they are straight up dead to a Heavy Slam. So that's kind of like why you would use that over it, but I like Bullet Punch more just because a weakened Gengar, and I already mentioned a bunch of other threats. Now, if you don't want to use Flame Orb, maybe you can use Choice Band, maybe like the outright damage and the inability to change moves, but you keep your HP. So, Choice Band's very similar, max attack, max speed for defense. With Guts is still a great ability. You never know when Toxic Spikes are up, or you got to switch into a Will-O-Wisp from Rotom. Imagine just Rotom Will-O-Wisp you. You have your Choice Band, and then your Guts is activated too. You're destroying Pokemon. So, close combat, knockoff. I think that on Choice Band sets, you want to have Heavy Slam specifically because you want to be able to deal with Fairy types, because you can't really... You could run Facade on a Choice Band set, but at that point, like, it's not something you can depend on, right? Because you're not always going to be status. So Heavy Slam is great for just knocking out fairies. And then either Bullet Punch or Stone Edge. Stone Edge is good for flying types. Mons like Zapdos, Crobat, things like that. Whereas Bullet Punch, again, gives you that priority move. But it's kind of up to you. Do you want to be locked into a weaker priority move versus do you want to go for a Stone Edge type of thing? So again, that's really up to you where you want to use Hariyama in that regard. Next up, we have Thick Fat Hariyama. And this is Substitute Focus Punch. This is a set that we've used a lot back in the day. I'm going to explain the EVs to you guys so you can understand them, but it's pretty simple. The 12 HP is a leftovers number. Basically, Hariyama recovers the most amount of recovery per turn from leftovers by doing this. So by having that 12 HP, so when you have the HP number of 432, max attack, because you're using Focus Punch, right? You're using basically the strongest fighting type attack. So you want to go and have the most damage output. Behind a substitute, you have freer chances to go for Focus Punch. Like, for example, if your opponent has... Ferrothorn isn't in this tier, right? But it's the first Steel type that came to mind. But your opponent has... what is a good Focus Punch? A Blissey. A Blissey in front of you. First off, Blissey cannot break your substitute. Because... first off, Ice Beam won't break your sub because of Thick Fat, but also it can't Seismic Toss and break your substitute. It takes 2 Seismic Tosses. That's the big thing about Hariyama, right? It has that high HP stat, so it takes 2 Seismic Tosses to break this thing sub. So you go for substitute as Blissey switches out into Latios to take the fighting type attack. Now that you're behind a substitute, you can safely take a Draco or a Psychic and then knock them out with knockoff in return. So it just gives you free turns and also free Focus Punches too. But the 96 speed allows you to outspeed Clefable. And this is pretty big because, you know, you could 2-hit KO with Heavy Slam. You do that with you easily 2-hit KO Clefable with Heavy Slam with max attack. And then the rest was just put in special defense because of Thick Fat. So if you're using this, let's say, in lower tiers, this allows you to switch in again on those potential Sun Mons like Typhlosion or like Entei. You get to take their hits a little bit better. And also Ice types as well. You'll be able to take their hits a little bit better too. But yeah. Weavile, for instance, you resist... You take the Icicle Crash pretty decently because of Thick Fat. So, Substitute and Focus Punch are your given on the set. Then you have either Knockoff, Heavy Slam, or if you want to like slash one of them, you can put Bulk Up on one of them. I don't like Bulk Up as much on Sub Focus Punch because you're already relying on Focus Punch. But if you do Bulk Up enough, you know, even Gliscor's Earthquake is not going to be able to break your sub after a Bulk Up or two. So, you could even go for raw or for Focus Punches behind a sub versus Gliscor, and if Gliscor does roost versus you, it loses its flying type, which means that Focus Punch is neutral. So you'll be doing some massive damage. But yeah, Knockoff and Heavy Slam are the first moves, but you can slash Bulk Up with basically any of them if you really want to. The next set we have is oh, I almost deleted that, but the next set we have is actually actual straight up Bulk Up set, and this one can use either Guts or Thick Fat, basically because you don't have the added benefit of having a substitute to avoid status. You can decide between Guts or Thick Fat. If you go Thick Fat, you're better off versus, again, those Fire and Ice types, but if you go Guts, you don't care about status. So, very similar EV spread. 12 HP allows you to have that leftovers number. 96 speed gives you the 96 speed gives you the speed tier over Clefable and Pokemon around that benchmark. I put max special defense because you're running a bulk up set, so you're upping your defense. So I think you want to be able to take special hits a little bit better, like Gengar Shadow Ball and stuff like that. You want to be able to take that a little bit better. It doesn't 2-hit KO you. So that's just something that Hariyama has going for it there. And then you have the rest into attack. And with that attack investment, you guarantee 2-hit KO even after leftovers. A Clefable, a physically defensive Clefable with Heavy Slam, which is why you have that speed tier over it. But Bulk Up, Knockoff, and Heavy Slam are a given on this. Heavy Slam is your Fairy coverage. Knockoff is your Psychic and Ghost coverage. And then you either run Force Palm or Close Combat. That's kind of up to you. The reason why you would run Force Palm over Close Combat is sometimes when you bulk up, you don't want to lower your defenses after raising them, right? So Force Palm, it is weaker. However, it also gives you the chance of paralyzing your opponent. And on top of that, it also means that Hariyama doesn't have to drop its defenses, but close combat at +1, it's pretty strong. It's a strong move. You can go for that as well. I think it also depends on if you're running Guts versus Thick Fat on this Pokemon, but that is completely up to you. The next set we have is a defensive set of Hariyama. Now, on this one, this would be like your guaranteed switch in to Ghost types in lower tiers and to Fire, to Ice types, to the Rock types, the Ground types, depending. And this is a defensive Hariyama. You're gonna run Leftovers. You're always gonna run Thick Fat on defensive Hariyama as well. But right here we have that 12 HP, again that Leftovers number, and max special defense. The rest was put into defense. You can run either Impish or Careful for this, depending on what you want to switch into. If you find because this is a set that you would run in lower tiers, and this kind of differentiates it from the rest of the other fighters as well. But if you find yourself weaker to physical fire types, let's say like Entei, which usually does end up in the lower tiers, or just like physical setup mons in general, you can go Impish. If you think that special is better for your team, you can go Careful. So special defensive is extremely better. But the set is Force Palm, and then you go, because that's your best fighting type attack that can paralyze the opponent. Again, it can give you more out of it without lowering your defenses. And then you go Rest and Sleep Talk. Rest gives you that longevity with Leftovers. It lets you get back up to full, but you are asleep for 2 turns, which is where Sleep Talk comes into play. And Sleep Talk is cool because you have a 1 in 3 chance of pulling off something you want, right? Like Force Palm or the other moves, which would either be Whirlwind or Knockoff in this case, or Rest. So you have a 2 out of 3 chance to pull a good move for you, and the other will be Rest. But the set you go is either Whirlwind or Knockoff as your last move. Whirlwind lets you phase out setup Pokemon, right? Because you can easily take like a Nassiflop boosted Miss Magius's attack. You'll be able to take it. So if you want to phase them out, of course, though, in that same regard, maybe you want to knock them out, so you go for Knockoff. So it kind of depends on the team. If your team is more hazard heavy, Whirlwind's pretty cool just for shuffling around the opponent and getting hazards racked up on them, spikes, toxic spikes, stealth rock type of thing. Whereas Knockoff is cool because you're getting rid of Leftovers, you're getting rid of recovery items, you're getting rid of choice bands, you're getting rid of choice specs, you're getting rid of life orbs. So it's just things nobody likes to lose their item in Pokemon, right? Unless you're going for like Fling, Gliscor, or Acrobatics, or you need a Poltergeist switch in, which does not exist in this current game anyway, because there's no Poltergeist. Nobody likes losing their item. So Knockoff is great in that regard. So that's kind of up to you. Again, you can run it either Careful or you can run Impish, depending on what you want. More physically defensive, but it's just a bulkier version of Hariyama. I just want to note one thing since we're at this point. There's no Assault Vest in this game, and Hariyama was a fantastic Assault Vest user because it just let you check basically everything. You could run spreads like this on a Pokemon with 144 base HP, and I should have mentioned this earlier, my bad. You don't typically need to invest into HP because you get more out of its stats by investing in its lower defensive stats. You basically can take hits better by doing that. So it was such a fantastic Assault Vest user because it could run Thick Fat or Guts and not care. And Assault Vest gave you a 1.5 special defense boost, so that 240 would become 360, right? So it would be like there's a huge difference with 360 special defense, 432 HP, right? Then 432 special defense, 240 HP. So it would be just a big thing to be able to help out Hariyama in that regard. But there's none. You can easily, and there are 2 more sets. Actually, there's 1 more set I'll be covering after this. But I just want to note that like you can easily run like a Leftovers defensive set, and you could just straight up run 4 attacks if you wanted to. I just want to make that. I want you guys to know that that is indeed an option on Hariyama if you want to do that with like Adamant, and then you just go like max attack, max special defense, or like whatever attack jump point you want, like maybe 56 or 60 attack. If that lets you 2-hit KO something in particular, you just run a count. 12 HP for the Leftovers, and then the rest in special defense and defense. You can easily do something like that with Hariyama. These are just basic move sets, and well, I think the move sets are fine, but these are just basic EV spreads. You can really customize EV spreads to do whatever you want. You can use a damage calculator to do that. But the last set we have is Belly Drum Hariyama. I like this set. I like this set on Sticky Web. I think it's pretty fun too because like for example, Latios takes like 72, I think, to 86%, something like that. From a +6 Bullet Punch will knock out Weavile, Bullet Punch will knock out +6 Gengar and OU, it will knock out an Alakazam. So I think it's a pretty fun mon, and it kind of contends with, it's kind of like a Azumarill, but Azumarill has better stab. Overall, because Fairy and Water is fantastic and it has a better priority move than Bullet Punch, but it's pretty cool. So it is a Belly Drum Hariyama. You run Guts always, I think, on Belly Drum because if you get burnt, even better for you, right? You're +6 and then you get even more attack. So you run 4 HP because that way your Citrus Berry will activate. This is at level 100. Your Citrus Berry will activate right after you go for belly drum, so you'll get that percentage back. And it's pretty cool because, for example, if a glide score comes in on you and you go for belly drum, you're at 75% or whatever, you can tank an earthquake easily and knock them out with a +6 knockoff. So it's tanky enough naturally to take hits from a Pokemon like Gliscor after the belly drum, and it also allows you to just some massive damage, right? But it's a fun mon. It's a fun lower tier mon. Maybe you run it with Sticky Web. Maybe you definitely run Stealth Rock support as well, because if you're using an OU tier, you need to be able to take out some Pokemon. But just a fun way of using it. Close combat knockoff Bullet Punch gives you the best combination of attacks you can go for, and you for sure want that priority move on Hariyama. But it's fun. I use later today. I use a Flame Warp set, but this would have been the second set that I would have used had I put it on the Sticky Web team. But yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoy. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what other Pokemon you want to see. I have a few of them already made. I just had to actually just do them and then do the showdown lives with them featuring the Pokemon. But I'll also be doing throughout this week specifically. I'll be doing a lot of Pokemon that I'm not going to be doing showdown lives of, like singularly. But like I know a lot of people want Luxray. A lot of people also just want to know how to do like the certain top 30 OU Pokemon type of thing. So I'll be going through a lot. So if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe. Also, like I said, check out the merch if you would like to as well. That link is down below. And if you want to pick up, I guess Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, feel free, or even Legends Arceus pre-order, feel free to use my Best Buy link. I'll see you next time. Peace.